Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Yei'iitsoh Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Yei'iitsoh Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at Ei'iitsohExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's Ei'iitsohExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
Welcome to The Gateway, broadcasting live from the edge of the Mojave where the strange slips through the cracks. We are live on United Public Radio Network 107.7 FM, and I'm your host this evening, C.L. Thomas. Tonight, I'm talking with a member of the Navajo Nation about a personal experience I had back in 2021 while I was out in the desert. I really need to get some closure and some insight about this curious incident. So we're going to be talking about that, and I have a little video to play that I recorded the day I came into contact with these things. But before we get into that, you've been listening to Sean Kelly with Into the Night right here on United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM. After this show tonight is Paratruth with Eric and Justin. Always a great lineup right here on the station. It's currently 78 degrees here in the valley with chances of rain. We are currently under a high wind advisory, with gusts reaching up to 50 miles an hour. So batten down those hatches and settle in, because that advisory is not going away until 2 a.m. tonight. It's going to be one of those really eerie, spooky kind of nights. I hope everyone is well. I see I got some friends from Wyoming that has joined us. And yeah, Wyoming, that's in my near future, guys. So I'm kind of excited. I'm making some plans for spending some time in Wyoming. Yei'iitsoh Expeditions magazine is available and is online for just $1. It's going to be only $1 for another month. So get your copy pretty soon because the prices are going to be going up. The hard copies are out. They're available as well. I think they're $10 a copy. You can get them at Ei'iitsohExpeditionsMagazine.com. And the next publication is coming out on May 1st. So stay tuned for that. My cat here wants to say hello too. I feel like I always have to report where I was because I travel so much for work. So last week I was in Bakersfield, California, and I did a little mini investigation at this place that I haven't been yet. And I got to go in, I did some EVP work, and I did a little walkthrough of this place. And I can't disclose where it's at just yet, but I can talk a little bit about it. It was the site of where an activist lived, and he's a very well-known activist, particularly in the Indian and Mexican culture. However, there's some things that had come out after this guy died that is kind of questionable. So now it's believed that this site, it was a commune. It had about 100 people living on it at the time. But as more things come out about this guy, it's said that this guy was doing some mind control sessions and some other strange things happened. And it was kind of more of a cult later on in his life. So I'll report more on that next week. Tonight, I want to welcome Don Yazzie. He grew up in the Navajo Nation, and he's always been curious about the paranormal and unexplained mysteries, which, as you can imagine, in the Four Corners area, there's a lot of that. He is the host of one of my favorite podcast shows, Don't Whistle at Night, and he's been my guest before. He discussed the Skinwalkers. So a few years ago, I had this really strange encounter while I was out in the desert, and I wanted to invite Don back again to gain his insight into what it was that I walked into. Don, welcome back to the show.
Hey, welcome. Hey, welcome. Hello, CL Thomas. How's it going?
How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just hanging out. You said it was windy, so up here in St. George, we got a lot of wind today, and I think I got some dirt still making its way out of my eye right now. But it's going good. Just another day in paradise, and glad to be hanging out with you guys, living the dream.
Living
How
the
about you?
dream. Don is for those listening, Don is not too far from me. He's, 2 hours from me? If that.
Probably hour and a half, maybe. Yeah,
Hour and a
not
half?
too far.
Yeah.
Skip a hop away.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of experienced the same paranormal phenomena in a way out in the desert. I spend a lot of time out there, and I know you do too. So there's a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to you tonight about is I wanted to use your expertise. I wanted to do things a little different tonight. Back in 2021, I had this experience where I was on my way to this remote ghost town way up in the mountains. It was like, I think, 7,000 feet up. And it's on this wagon trail. So you get off the highway going toward Goldfield, and you drive down this little wagon trail for about, I think it's like 20 miles or so. And then it's washed out. So you have to get out and hike up this mountain and so forth and so forth. Well, let me play the video. Oh, the video disappeared. Hold on a second. I got to get the video back.
Ooh, spooky.
I know. See what I mean? Like, stuff just happens every time I talk about this. But what brought this up again is I had a nightmare again last night about this whole incident. It just will not go away. And I'll set this up while this is loading. I was driving down that little dirt road, and this little baby colt, this horse, just jumps out in front of my car and starts circling laps around the car, like round and round and round. And I thought, what is going on? It's so weird, right? So I stop the car. I get out because I didn't see any other horse at the time. And I start looking for, where its mom is, because it's a little one. It's definitely weaning. It's tiny. So as soon as I get out of my car, it takes off down the road in the direction I came. And so once it went away, I kind of looked over and I noticed that there was a couple other horses just kind of lingering, and then they took off down the same direction. So I got to looking, like I looked over, and that's when I saw it. There was this giant Joshua tree that was way bigger than the rest of them. And there was a couple of dolls underneath there. And there was a natural spring, which later I learned that spring is feeding this ghost town. It's way up in the mountains. It's full story. They would take like a mule train up the hillside to carry water in there. It's kind of neat. But let me see if I can add this video on here. There it is. I stopped because there was a whole herd of horses around this little, I guess this is a little spring of some sort. Look how gross that is. They were all drinking out of this. This is one of those natural springs. But there's a bunch of horses around here, and I was trying to take a photo of them, and I came across something really, really creepy, and I just wanted to share. I think this is some kind of spell work. Something bad, anyway. It has a really bad feeling to it even. So let me show you this. Around this Joshua tree are 4 dolls. And they're actually pretty expensive dolls. They're porcelain. But look at this. The feet are bound. There's like notes and stuff shoved inside of it. That one has its face all burned and its hands. His feet are bound. There's stuff in the back of it. I don't really want to touch it. And then look at these other ones. This one's bound and ripped and burned. And that's a porcelain doll. Check out this one. The eyes and the mouth were burned out of it. Is that not creepy? And there's like wax in there, so they had like candles or something in it. That one's not. Oh yeah, it is. Look, the hands are bound. And then look at this one. That one's bound too. So it had something sprayed on it, first of all. Man, it's creepy. And then check this out. Just several feet from it, from this, is this. Now, I've been seeing dead things all day for some reason, but this makes me think that it's part of that somehow. Something weird was going on here. It even has like a weird feeling to it. I just don't know. I haven't seen any markings or anything like that, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. I'm out.
Creepy.
Yeah. But each one has like a different thing to them. You see what I mean? Like one has his face, one had his eyes gouged out. One of them just flat out looks like it was raped. Hold on, I'm trying to get that off.
And I noticed most of the doll's private areas are all.
Sorry about that. What were you saying?
I noticed that. It's good. I noticed that the doll's private areas are all burned out as well.
Yeah, very strange. It's almost as if, like, one of them had its mouth burned out, another one had its eyes burned out, and then one had its privates. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just got looking at it. I don't know. Did you notice any fresh tire tracks or any foot tracks?
No, and that's what.
Oh, okay.
It gets really creepy because there was none of that. I looked, but there was like a little fireplace, like a little fire. It was right next to that pond that's in the video. I didn't think to video that at the time, because I just had no idea. I've never seen anything like that before, so I just had no idea what I was walking into.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
The other thing that happened is part of me thought, well, maybe I should turn around and go back, right? Well, I didn't. So I continued into the ghost town, and it was like one thing after another. My car got stuck. I couldn't get my car dislodged. It was stuck in the sand. No cell phone service, no water, nothing. So I'm up there trying, I just cried for like an hour or two trying to figure out what am I going to do. And then finally it dawned on me to take like a piece of wood, like 100-year-old board from one of the buildings, and I wedged it under the car to get the car unstuck and was able to get out. But from that day forth, it's like the dreams I was having after this. It was like something captivated me from this place. I just couldn't let it go for the longest time. And even now, I still think about it. So what are your thoughts on this? What did I walk into?
Oh man, there's a variety, a variety of reasons why I was just like, um, um, well, okay, going back to the dolls, like there's a lot of things that's going through my mind just looking at them and how they're burned differently, they're bound differently, and some of them, most of them has their private areas burned out,
Mm.
and it doesn't help, just stick out to me that it's like a serial killer pattern. Maybe someone is a serial killer that was there. Maybe there's bodies nearby. So all these things are, amount of dolls, so bodies are probably spread out like probably 100 yards. So, all these are like, but for when we find something like that on Navajo Nation, that really narrows things down, because if we have a doll like that, it's usually passed down to family, baby to baby, or just thrown in the trash can and lit on fire, basically. And some spots they do have the trash dumps, but a lot of cases when you find dolls like that, they're a lot of times their eyes are gouged out, their mouth are gouged out, and they have like a hair wrapped around in a some sort of bone, and they would put that doll in a anthill, a red anthill, so that person would get all kinds of nightmares and get all kinds of body aches and sickness, and so the list goes on that one. And they will hang the doll up, same thing, the hair, or they would have a piece of clothing wrapped inside of that doll, and they would hang that doll up, and there would be some strange demonic symbols on the walls, um, such as black magic, Navajo black magic. And I'm very sure, I'm sure that every tribe has their own form of black magic. And
Mhm.
I know that the Paiute as well, the Mojave, I wouldn't doubt it. So, you probably, there's a variety of things that you walked up into. Maybe you walked up into that ghost town as it was thriving. Maybe the local tribes people were doing some hexes on a certain family or certain person, or someone moved in, so just like, but the dolls are very, very eerie. So I think, it possibly was used in some type of way, especially with it hitchhiking with you and still bothering you in your sleep. So, either like the Native Americans would do ceremonies, Navajos would do ceremonies, protection ceremonies, cleansing ceremonies, just to get rid of it. Because when you go into ghost towns like that, whenever people dwell there, they leave, like the bad spirit there with them. Like when they're gambling, going to the
Mhm.
brothels, that spirit stays there and it lingers there, and it calls those abandoned buildings home. Because when there's abandoned buildings like that on the Navajo Nation, there be spirits. And then if it's a hospital, there's a clown spirit as well, like a ghost clown walking around. Because there's people that used to dress up as clowns to try to help make kids happy back in the day. But when that person died, he haunts the old hospital. So there's stories like that of a certain hospital. And so, I think most definitely something hitchhike back with you, because like it goes back to my myself. I got my hair cut right on top, and as I was going to sleep, I would wake up in a cave, and they would have the piece of my hair wrapped in something, and the old lady with her hair covering her face, she's death chant, singing me death chants and spinning me in circles. And I would wake up on the bed, gripping the bed sheet, and then I'm spinning like I'm dizzy, like someone's spinning me around, but I'm laying still. And then, so like black magic like that. And it was in a cave, and in that cave I saw pieces of clothing, pieces of hair, and a whole bunch of stuff on the wall for every individual that putting bad hexes on. That's all up on the walls. And my brother-in-law, they're hiking this one part of the Navajo Nation, like along the cliff's edge, and they came up on an opening, and they seen an altar, and in the middle of that altar, there was a seashell, and that seashell had my wife's mother's picture wrapped up. Like they made it, like they wrapped it up and put it in a beer bottle and put a piece of her hair and her clothing in there so she can be an alcoholic. Hey, good evening. And my wife's older sister, they had a bottle, one of her prescription bottle, and they put all kinds of stuff in there, even her clothing, so that she would always be bound to medication and that her health will deteriorate. And then all the boys, they all had beer bottles and they all had beer tabs in there. They had some pills in there. They had some kind of drugs in there. So the boys will become alcoholics and become dependent on drugs. And that's all that's unfolding right now. And so that's the youngest brother that came across that. And he ran back and told his brothers, and his brothers all came back with shotguns. And they went and they just shot it up. And then one by one, bad stuff started happening to them. Nightmares, getting possessed, sleep paralysis. Oh man, it gets really bad. So, the dark side is real.
Yeah,
The
it
dark
is.
side is very much real. So just seeing that and being a part of it and just knowing about it, and even down to not accepting some jewelry from our neighboring tribes. It just goes all the way down to that. And some tribes would so if you like look up Kachina dolls, so
Mhm.
those the Hopi, the Zuni, they make those little tiny dolls. The Pueblos make those dolls, and then they do a incantation on them, and they make those dolls come to life and hunt Navajos down. So that's how bad it gets, just the spiritual warfare and just people not liking you just for who you are, and just ill will towards you. So, you always have to be aware of that, and you have to be smart and even praying for yourself, even every foot tracks, even every foot step that you do, they can come up on the foot track and take the top layer of the dirt, and they'll have you like that. So when we're out and about, we try to, if not brush off our feet, and when we got to go restroom, cover it with dirt. You just cover your tracks as much as you can. um then like it goes into then when you're at nighttime too, like if you were stuck out there and then something was bothering you, like a skinwalker came by, and you would ask the son, dine. So translation, son is star, dine means people, star people. You ask them which way is it at, then they'll send the shooting star. They'll show which way is that skinwalker, so you'll know where they're at. You keep asking the stars where they're at, and they'll show you. Even with the wind too, you ask the wind, you pray, you ask the wind people out there, because they really help the warriors out. And the voice too, it will speak to you. So there's that. Then the fire elemental as well. So that maybe we can get into that one a little bit
Yeah,
as we get the show going.
absolutely. I definitely want to talk about the elementals, because that's another thing that I come across quite frequently out here in the desert over and over again, or the little
Yeah,
elemental-like spirits. As far as you mentioned the Kachinas, am I saying that correctly?
yeah, Kachinas, yeah.
Those are sold, by the roadside, like in gift shops and things like that. Is it bad for people to purchase those as gifts?
Uh, Probably. I don't think so. They're nice. I've seen them. They're cool looking. But from what I was told, that they're gifted, they're handed down from family to family. And if you're being naughty, all those dolls will start being mischievous in your house, and you'll start missing your keys. The dogs will be scared of it. They'll be in different places every night. You'll have recurring nightmares. And if you're doing good, if you're being really living in harmony, you're at peace, then you'll hear them sing, and you'll see them dance in the hallways, and they'll be singing, and it'll scare the shit out of you. So, um, they'll be telling you to come too. So, the stories about them, it just blows my mind. I think there's a picture that one of my friends that she sent me out there in Rama, New Mexico. She's close to the Zuni tribe. She had a game cam in the tree, and then across the tree, the game cam went off. And she's looking at it, she's like, there's nothing. Why did the game cam go off? And she started zooming, looking around every part. She looked at the tree. There's a little person dressed just like a kachina in the tree, probably like at least 6 to 8 inches tall, with a bow and arrow he's holding the bow and arrow like this. One hand he's holding across his chest. He's looking out this way. And I think he has a shield too on his other arm. So he's out, they're out and about. So I think they draw what they see and they create what they see out there. So the Kajina might be like a little person, like an elemental type of duende type of being, because when I seen my little person, I think it was bad because I associated with my grandmother's death. So, there's a lot of strange things that we have yet to uncover. And a lot of the old people that I chat with, they really, each and every time I chat with them, they teach me something new, something new that I gain more knowledge, and it's awesome. And being a part of the tribe, we're taught to respect. And when you go around like the ruins, like the ghost town, or in our case would be the Anasazi ruins, like such as Kenyan Deshe or Aztec, those ones are the more bad ones that you're not supposed to go to, because a lot of bad things happen there, like human sacrificing. They sacrifice like human meat, cannibalism. So it just goes on. And then whenever we go there, we have nightmares up the we get nightmares like crazy, and we have to seek some healers, or we have to just pray for a long time just to sleep well. And we have this shadow person that follows them. And this one person sent me a picture of the Aztec ruin that they seen one of those snake deities and the Aztec gods that was standing in the doorway. So it's just amazing and scary at the same time, but beautiful. And there's life after death, and there's more life than what our eyes can see. Like, as far as I know, that when I go to sleep, that realm is the real thing, and when I wake up here, I'm in a dream. It's like not
it
real.
does feel like that, doesn't it? It does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Up in Flagstaff, Arizona, there's Walnut Canyon. Have you been up there? Where in the cliffs, there's a whole bunch of ruins that you can hike up into. And I met a guy who he would not go. He was from the Navajo Nation, and he said he doesn't go there because it's his ancestors and ghosts, and it belongs to them, and we don't have any business in that realm. He said something to the effect that we don't have any business going to that realm, as if they still occupied that site.
Mm-hmm. I think a long time ago, what we used to do is do some burn offering. We go burn some tobacco for them and leave a little food right there, a plate of food right at the ruins, and we go pray. Just like say, peace. We're here because a lot of us Navajo, our tribe, comes from them as well. Because like within our clans, you'll see the cliff dwellers, because a lot of those ruins are at the cliffs, because there's a lot of them that intermarried with this. And like also but one of the stories I heard of one of my clans is also a Mojave clan. And then one of my other clans is Hopi clan. Then another one of my clans is a clan from back east out in South Carolina, that far. That's one of my clans comes from that far, migrated this way. And so, like we all were taught to give offering, give respect. And some of those pictographs in the wall, we used to take a seashell. Our people back then, you take a seashell and take the patient, and the medicine man would go to a pictograph, and he would burn tobacco or whatever herb that's needed for that specific ceremony. And he would sing the specific song for that ceremony for that patient next to that pictograph. And that pictograph being inside would come out of the wall and would sit beside them and do some healing ceremonies and take the sickness back with it, and he'd go back into the wall. And that was a long time ago, and it changed to pottery, where they would put the sickness on that patient onto the pottery and they would smash it, so that would be no more sickness. And now that all changed to sand painting. So basically, we're painting the earth different colors, different each different elaborate design, and the medicine man would sit there with you, your patient. He'd be singing the song, and then by that time the sun is gone, and it's just all the stars, the moon, as he's singing that whole circle that he draw and sand painted and singing the whole entire time he's chanting. That whole thing will start turning, lighting up counterclockwise. It turns into a portal where all the Navajo gods come out and sit beside you and be speaking with you and doing healing ceremonies with you. And they'll go back into that portal, and that will close up, and that medicine man will erase it. So yeah, it's that's just a little bit of it. There's multiple different types of medicine, and how they conduct a healing ceremony is very, very amazing. Just having that ability to see in the supernatural. And I think the secret to all of it is just being like a childlike inside, having that childlike sense of wonder, and having that innocence, that love, that real love. And you present yourself out there in the field like you're hunting Sasquatch, and then you would say, "Stop the vehicle," and you would see a kill pile, find a nest. Everything works out like that. In some strange way, you got to keep the childlike sense of wonder. And they'll see that for sure. They'll see that. And when you come across a lot of the witchcraft and the dolls, part of my family, they would destroy it intentionally. They will destroy it, and they will definitely walk like at least 200-300 yards away from that area and wait and wait. And that witch would come back and see who destroyed it. And that witch would see in the astral realm when and which way that person went, that person's name, they will come right straight where you're at, because they're following your trail. And that's how you, boom, right in the heart. That's how you would take care of those witches. Yeah,
it's interesting that you say that. I did return to the site just last year, actually, at this time. I went back to the site just to try to figure out what this was. And somebody had actually taken a bulldozer, of all things. They actually took a piece of heavy equipment way back down that wagon trail. And that had to have taken some work, right? Because it's hard. You need a big four-wheel high clearance vehicle to get back in there. And we're talking miles and miles of this. Somebody took a heavy piece of equipment and bulldozed the entire thing. It's completely gone. It's completely raced. Even the trough where the spring is now just running into the ground. That's no longer there. They just bulldozed the entire thing.
Oh my God, what in
So
the world
somebody
happened?
figured it out and must have. I wonder if that's what they were trying to do, is get the person, the witch who did it. I don't know.
Mm, man, did you like dive in the local news, like if they like anything going on? That's weird. That's like really weird. How close is that area to Area 51? I'm curious.
So you know what? It's not that far. Probably about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's really not that far. So if you go, it's up in the like around the Bullfrog Mine, up around the Caliente area. It's way up in the mountains there. So it's not that far though. So if you go back out and go toward the highway and then go cross the highway and go the other direction, that's where you get into Area 51.
Oh, geez. When you go back out there, make sure you have a nice caliber weapon with you because I've been hearing some crazy stories about Nevada, especially with abandoned mines and with escaped ETs killing people. So cover ups too. So I've been hearing that. So Nevada is very on one of my li- on one of my lists to stay at that Alley Inn. Man.
I've been there. I've been there multiple times. I went to, actually, a friend of mine who's on here. We found, I think, 4 of the gates that lead into, and we've been to 2 of them, to Area 51. Now I think there's a couple other gates, but they are around the Mercury area, which is still closed off from like where they set that big bomb off. I think
Oh
that's where
man.
the other gate is. But we went out there, and I tell you, you have to, again, you get off the highway and you have to go down this dirt road for I don't know how many miles. You're on this little dirt road, and it's BML land all the way up until you get up to the gate. As soon as you get to that gate, they meet you right there with whatever they have. And they even see you coming. I remember my friend joking around. I could have killed him at the time. He gets off the road and decides he wants to start he had a Jeep. He wants to start driving up along the fence line, right? Into the
Mm.
desert. I'm like yelling at him, stop the car, I'm getting out. And as he was turning the vehicle around, I noticed something under the bush. There's actually ground sensors all around there. There was a ground sensor right there under the bush. So they see you coming. And the other weird thing is it's you go up over like a hillside right before you get into that whole area where Alien Inn is in the black mailbox and all of that sort of thing. It's like a valley, and it's surrounded by mountain range. Once you get up over that hillside and get down in there, there's no cell service or anything, and it's on purpose. They actually cut out all communications right there. So it's pretty interesting.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's very awesome right there. They're just cutting out communication for the spies, I think. That's one thing's reason why I would, they have a little base out here too, outside of St. George. You walk up that road and you'll get met with the AR-15, 2 bodyguards right there. They just pop out of the bushes too. So I hear that they have a little space program too up there. There's a triangular spaceship that flies out of that one at Mesa. It's called Smith Mesa. Um, one of the stories goes that on the other side of the mesa, you'll find monkey bones because they used to do crash tests with monkeys. So
Oh
I gotta
man.
find that. Yeah, so it's just conspiracy after conspiracy, you know. And um, one of the things that I think what makes it strange that the whole area we're on the 37th parallel. So it goes all the way right there. That whole the 37th parallel. I think Vegas is right on there. Mojave, and what we call it in our language is or we would call it a rainbow trail, the rainbow trail. And then same thing with portals, we would call that the same thing, the rainbow bridge. That's what we would call them. We would go from one dimension to the other. So that's how some of our tribes would got here from the last flood of the world. Our deities help bring us over from a portal. Crawl up. When it opened up in the sky, they crawled up over into this one. So that's part of the stories. And we just got back from Farmington, New Mexico, not long ago, and sure enough, that this whole grid line, the 37th, you see the UFOs one night go right here. Next night, they're making grid lines that whole 37th parallel. So out here in St. George too, there's a lot of UFOs. There's like the list goes on, on and on. And one of the stories I hear that they actually can bring those down, the ones that practice witchcraft, because you be calling out to the North Star, you be calling to the four winds, because that's what the wind logs are. Because there's four angels that control the north wind, south wind, and you would do certain ceremonies to make all that align. You have to bring in different variables to open a portal anywhere, even like if a witch finds out that you're messing around with their stuff, their lair, they'll go all the way to where you live and crawl underneath your home. Go down to the foundation. They'll do pentagram or any type of sigils, secret symbols, and to just make your life a living hell any way they can.
Wow.
And
So you think that that whole area with the dolls might be connected with, like, maybe ET somehow?
oh man, like doing this, doing this, like you run into all these things. Just like, hey, you're gonna dig further, you might run into that, you might run into that.
It's so
That's no
interesting
doubt.
out here in the desert. You just never know what you're going to find,
Yeah, I think like this parallel has portals, open gateways that we don't know. We can end up from point A to point B like that. And like a story, like one of my aunts, she was herding her sheep. She was walking up on the cliff. She's in this like a little like a valley. There's a rock wall on both sides, and her sheep are down here. She's following this trail that's going up along this cliff, and she's just enjoying herself. And she looked up on the trail. There's just some cedar tree that goes up and it curves this way, and then the trail goes right into there's like a circle like this. She said it was nice. She was like walking in there, looking down on the ground, looking their sheep down the hill, just walking, and then before you know it, she said she was stepping on some flagstone, some flat rock like steps. And on her left and on her right, there was pottery. And these were Anasazi pottery, new pottery. And she looked ahead and it was like the entrance or exiting the mouth of a cave. She said there was voices, laughter, talking, and a bunch of children playing, the noise of them. And she had to stop and turn around she stopped and walked backwards to go back where she came. Because there is like wormholes we would come across. You just end up in another time, another dimension. Even playing with the Ouija board, back when I was 15, with my cousin brother and his girlfriend, her sisters. There's four girls, there's two of us. And, just playing that game, we saw a shadow person come out the corner, jumping the girl. She is screaming. She jumped out the window. We had to go out the window, get her. She went back in. I was like, we're going to stay outside. And they played again. And sure enough, the wall, the house disappeared. And there's this one spiral came. We saw a black and gray spiral. And it was sucking in the grass, the trees, the dirt. It was flying in. It was trying to suck us in. So, I think this whole parallel has a little too much strange to it. Like even if you were to go back there and spend the night, who knows what you would you would
I
see,
thought
you would
about it.
capture.
I thought
Huh?
about going out there and staying the night just to see. Not so much. I don't know if I would stay there or if I would stay up in the because that little town, the little ghost town. It has, I think, it's got quite a bit, probably about 2 dozen or more of structures left over, like little stone foundations of where all the buildings were. I really do kind of want to stay up in there. There's so many strange things that I've caught over the years in this place, and one of them being "We're not human" is one of the EVPs I have.
Oh man.
Yeah, "We're not human." One of them said it was going to kill me. Just all kinds of crazy EVPs from this location, one after another.
What? Okay, that's legit. That's a legit hiding, or I don't
Yeah,
know if ET's cloaking and hanging out with you. I don't know if that's a possibility, but that sounds like some haunting right there.
yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, yeah, try to get some cedar ash if anything. Just apply it on yourself when you're out there. Then be very careful because these guys will hitchhike with you. Oh, it sounds like they already did. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna look behind you, see if I see any shadows. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they definitely caught my attention enough to where I keep going back to look at this location because it's just so interesting. You know, you're invited to come and investigate with me if you want to at some point.
Oh yeah, yeah,
An open
definitely.
invitation to come out. It's very
Oh,
rugged though. There's no toilets or running water or any of that. All of that will have to be done outside, just FYI.
oh, it's all good. I bet you the stars are really nice out there.
Yes, they
No
are.
light
They are.
pollution. Oh, right there. I'm a stargazer. I'm always been a stargazer at heart, but not too long ago. I'm more attracted to the stars now because I want to see the mothership again. Supposedly, uh, pile of ash. Yep. Cedar ash across your forehead and under your feet. Um, like growing up, my grandpa, he'd wake us up and he was just basically threw a whole bunch of ash all over me. Because I guess there was a skinwalker outside. That's why messing with him. Because once upon a time he stole that skinwalker's satchel. And he got into his satchel and dumped everything out. He even found his dentures. He found pieces of hair, found pieces of clothing, even toys. I think he found probably even like some type of little doll from a little girl. He's taken to take it back to his lair to do his witchy stuff.
Really? So, okay, what is their purpose? Like the dolls, were they going after kids or were they going after
Yeah,
somebody
they
else,
go
you
after
think?
the whole family. Yeah. So like each doll could represent one child. So probably, like one lady with a bunch of kids because that's where they want to go after is hurt the children. So I don't know if they get a kick out of it or that's their MO, just the next generation, that person.
Yeah, maybe to stop the generational
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, that's how usually it goes. And if not, it's a personal vendetta. So I think what you came up on, I think it's some type of witchy deal. Somebody didn't like a certain family. And with it being a ghost town, who knows, um Sarah Jean probably knew some kind of witchcraft and took the dolls over there and did something, who knows, or it could be a Mojave or some another tribes person out there.
Well, I know that
They
there is
Mhm.
a reservation out there and it's peyote. So the border is like right along the road there that leading up into it. So it's like BML land on one side and it's peyote on the other.
Oh,
So
okay.
I know there's Shawnee around the area too, but I think they're further into the Death Valley area, maybe.
Oh, the Shoshone. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. They're I know I was around the over there in Fort McDermott. I used to go to school in Winnemucca, Nevada, out there in northern Nevada. And I know we used to get WitchCraft coming up all the way from the res, just coming to visit us up there. I don't know why, but it's just like, I don't know. As long as they don't bother me. Yeah.
So what are the
Yeah.
little elementals that come out all the time in these ghost towns? They're everywhere.
I think there's numerous types of elementals. There's an elemental of a sagebrush, the spirit of the sagebrush, and there's like every different types of vegetation has its spirit, has an elemental, because the first world that we were in, the very first one, was just a dark void world, and everything that was there was us, animals, the birds, and vegetation. Just us four were there. And what made us separate between all those other three is that we had thinking. We started thinking. We started developing a consciousness. And that's when the holy people seen us. And they always acknowledged us as their child, their children. So they really adored us, and they started going across vast distances of the galaxy, and they started gathering dirt, rock, any type of materials from far away, and they came all the way back, and they started building a foundation on a crystal. And so we started going into the second world. So that's where we all started our journeys, from that first world. So every plant, every grass has elemental around it. And certain Navajos are gifted. Some can see the future. Some can basically hunt witches, and some can do healing, and some will, predict the future, like I said. And some of them will know to find medicine, because the vegetation will speak out to them. I'm right here. Here I am. Because one of the first stories went with the peyote, is that this one chief, he was badly beaten. He got raided by another tribe. He lost his daughter, he lost his wife, they got taken away. And he was out in the forest trying to track them. But his eyes was almost swollen shut because of the beating he took, and he was laying down. I think he just gave up. Then he heard something speaking to him, like, I'm right here. I'm over here. Look right here and look down here. So he's like, "What? Who's talking to me?" And it guided him. And when he found this plant, and this plant told him, take me, take me with you, and give me to your people, and give me to your other tribes people. Pray with me. I'm with you guys. I can change everything. I can fix everything, because the last previous world was in complete chaos. Everyone was in complete chaos. So our tribe came down to establish order. So that's why our tribe back in the day was known as the peaceful people, because we had 6 war chiefs and 6 peace chiefs to try to have balance. So we're always communicating with the elemental of this plant, elemental of that plant, element of fire, element of water, element of the wind, the element of the rain, the female rain and the male rain. So they all of them, there's a whole bunch of different elementals, and we have our own work that we need to do. We have our own things that we need to apply, is to live in harmony with that. Because like the Navajo tradition, we have 13 dancers, okay? 13 dancers. The first one is the one that gives order. He's the lead one. So each and every deity has their job, and us, we're the last one. We're the clown. We try to dance with them. We try to follow them. We get ADD. We're like, oh, let's go chase this butterfly. Then those deities like, hey, come dance with us. You're supposed to be in harmony. And we, okay, we dance with them. And then we get sidetracked. Like, hey, look at this puppy. You want to pet this puppy? Like, hey, get over here. Like, oh, okay. So that's us. So that's how we're supposed to be. And Sasquatch is the last dancer behind us. So he's the keeper of the medicine. So he knows where all the tobacco is. He knows where to go and get some healing. So everything has its role. I think they know the elementals more than we do, for sure. For
Well,
sure.
Don, we are out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. It's always a
You're
pleasure
welcome.
having you on.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been listening to The Gateway, broadcast from the edge of the Mojave where the strange slips through the cracks, live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans. I want to thank my guest, Don Yazzie, with Don't Whistle at Night podcast. Thank you for listening to the Gateway podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow traveler of the strange and unexplained. Until next time.